When you own a nursery, you have to be a jack of all trades. You have to be an electrician, you have to be a marketer, you have to be a grower, you have to be an accountant, you have to be a little bit of everything. And that includes envisioning how you want your farm to grow in size, in structure. I wake up in the morning, I come to work, and that's where my day begins. I go out, I check the nursery for problems, if anything happened during the night. Then I go on to start pulling the orders for the day for the customers. I check all the plants for disease, and then we send it over to the shipping department. The orders are boxed and then placed on the truck. Then my fun part of my day begins, where I get to come out to the nursery, I plant the plants, I feel the soil, I make sure everything is fine. I check for seeds on my plants to see if there's any seeds that ripened overnight. Then I get to plant the seeds of the varieties that I want to grow, continue growing. From there, I get to watch these seedlings grow into what I hope they turn into. We've been growing for a very long time aeroids, which is what our specialty is in. We do a lot of different aeroids. We do anthuriums, alocasias, we do philodendrons, we do monsteras, and those are the mostly of the aeroids we grow, including with some epiprimnum and rhaphidophora. Silver Krome Gardens was started by my father in 1981. He was originally an orchid grower, but from then he transitioned to more aeroids. When he started the nursery, it was on family-owned land that my grandparents owned and they gave to him. He eventually started building greenhouses on the property. He started with one greenhouse, and then he went to 2 greenhouses, then 3 greenhouses. And then in 1992, after we ordered our 4th greenhouse, the whole nursery was destroyed by Hurricane Andrew. It was a terrible storm which wiped us off the face of the earth. The only thing left over after the storm was the barn structure. It took us 3 hours to get to the nursery because most of the roads were blocked with either telephone poles or trees. It was a very difficult time, but from there we rebuilt. We were able to rise from literally nothing and rebuild thanks to my father's love of plants and his passion for plants. I was only 16 years old when the storm hit. And I really didn't understand the love of plants that he had. I knew that my father was always collecting plants, and you never really understand why. My father instilled a passion for plants, and it was infectious. It grew in me. I grew love for plants. When I first started working here, it was just a job. But over time, the plants give you a zen. They give you a feeling of pleasure, a feeling of love. When my son was born in 2010, he was born in the summer, and my wife is a school teacher. So she started work again in September. So I gave him a few months with her at home, and then he came to daddy daycare at the nursery. Every day I would bring him to work, me and my father, changing his diaper on my father's desk. And he grew up in the nursery. All of my employees considered him their grandson, and they would bring him food every day and play with them at break times and lunch times so I could get a chance to eat. And when he was a toddler, I would bring him to work and he would grab a stick and he'd run around the nursery pretending it was a sword. And it was a wonderful experience for my son to grow up here and play here and explore here the same way I did when I was growing up with my father. I started working here when I was 12. My father was building one of the greenhouses and he needed an irrigation ditch dug. So he had me with a pickaxe and shovel in the full sun. He gave me a hat in the middle of summer and he said, okay, now build this 300 yards that way and when you get there, stop. So I came every day, 5 days a week for 8 hours a day with a shovel and a pickaxe in full sun with my mom slathered me in suntan lotion, and I was able to dig that irrigation ditch. And it took a long time, but I finally got it done. And I was really happy when I got it done because that was really hard work. I never tortured my son that way. But my dad gave me an idea of what it takes to own a nursery, because not only do you have to be the boss, but if you don't do work too, the employees are going to see that. They're going to know that you're not a hard worker, and they're going to know they don't want to listen to you. My father's legacy, he has instilled in me what it means to be a farmer and a grower of tropical plants, and that is what I have taken over since 2017 when he retired. Build a foundation for eventually maybe my son can take over one day. He's only 13 now, but you know, he's learning. He works here a few days during the summer and during the school year when he's out on break. Because as my father always said, plants don't take vacation.